This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Greetings, my friends, patriots, lovers of democracy, truth, and justice, believers in peace, freedom, and the American way. Thom Hartmann here with you. A grim day here in the nation's capital, but it's Wednesday. It's our first hour, and Congressman Mark Pocan is with us for the hour, and super pleased to have him with us, the co-chair of the House or of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, and representing the state of Wisconsin, 2nd District of Wisconsin, as I recall. Congressman, welcome back.
Thank you, Tom. Glad to be here.
Thank you. We're learning that the shooter in this case this morning, where Congressman Scalise and 4 others were shot, his name is James T. Hodgkinson. His website is covered with Bernie stuff and progressive stuff. I mean, he which is kind of makes me gulp. Kira Lerner over at Think Progress, one of the reporters, tweeted this morning at 10 a.m. I was scheduled to cover a House GOP-led hearing on deregulating gun silencers. Another day in America. That meeting has been canceled. And Senator Rand Paul tweeted about a year ago today, it was 23 June 2016, why do we have a Second Amendment? It's not to shoot deer. It's to shoot at the government when it becomes tyrannical. I retweeted that this morning with a note saying it's time to rethink this kind of rhetoric, please. Congressman, your thoughts?
Well, you know, and here we are, really just about exactly a year from the Pulse incident in Orlando, Florida, where 49 people were killed. Fortunately, no one was killed today, although several people were injured. And, you know, I think the bottom line is there are troubled people. It doesn't matter where their political leanings or beliefs or religious values or anything else are. If there's someone who's troubled enough to go and take a gun and do this, and we know that that there's still too many people who have access to these weapons that can cause this kind of damage. And again, today we were actually very fortunate. But just a year ago, because we were celebrating this the other day, commemorating, I should say, not celebrating, the Pulse massacre. You know, this is what happens in a country where, you know, maybe it's just a little too available and accessible to get some of these really high-powered weapons. Now, in this particular case, I'm not sure if we know the weapon yet, but from the counts, they said that it was certainly some rapid firing that was happening.
Probably an AR-15.
Yeah.
David Frum, ironically, George W. Bush's former speechwriter, the guy who wrote the Axis of Evil speech, he tweeted this morning, Virginia, no background checks, no licensing, no registration, no permit required for concealed carry of long guns, open carry of long guns and handguns.
Yeah. You know, I think the toughest thing for a lot of us is right after Pulse. You know, that was one of the moments that I'm most proud of, where we took over the floor, the House floor, to try to, you know, create more awareness about what is happening and why every time we have a moment of silence, there's no moment of action that follows it. And then, you know, it just continues and continues and continues. Yeah. And, you know, at this point, it's something that, again, you know, we're very fortunate no one was killed in this situation, but, you know, how much more can you create the awareness of what's going on than when it happens, you know, here in the nation's capital, to actually members of Congress who are out playing baseball. I mean, this is part of why we need to have a better, I think, national approach on this issue. But what I'm hoping doesn't happen, although I fear will be politicization of this. And again, I think
it's already happened. Fox is on it right now. Yeah. They're showing pictures of him holding signs that say "tax the rich" and, you know, Reaganomics and trickle down, and you know, his Facebook page with all the pictures of Bernie and stuff. It's already happening right now.
Yeah, and that's you know, quite honestly, totally unacceptable. And hopefully, fair-minded people, regardless of any political affiliation or no affiliation, will look at that and be just as disgusted by what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this guy also had a previous arrest for assault. And, you know, in a rational country, that might disqualify you from buying guns, although we don't know, you know, where he got the guns from. But anyhow, we're operating in a relative information vacuum right now.
Right.
But just to remind our listeners and viewers, Congressman Pocan will be with us for the hour. You're welcome to call on any topic that you would like to discuss. The number is 202-808-9925. What else is going on in the world today, Congressman, or in your world?
Sure. Well, we actually canceled votes today, but be perfectly honest, it's not a especially high-powered week, at least in the House side. What's going on as far as votes on the floor? I think a couple things that made news. One, Democrats in Congress are suing Trump over the Emoluments clause. I think over 200 of us now have got involved in a federal lawsuit, and that's where the president refuses to separate his business interests from himself in the way that every other president, regardless of political party, has done. We have great concerns over this, and we need to have it addressed because otherwise we don't know why decisions are being made, which is why we keep asking for his taxes. I think that's something in the news, and I think some people have talked about, although quite honestly, I think it was the most overrated, underperformed hearing was yesterday with Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, showing he knows how to say that he doesn't know how to answer questions, or he won't answer questions. That's really what we got out of it for the most part. Interestingly, there were a couple areas where I think he did confirm some things that former FBI Director Comey said, but in general, he did a lot of, I think, protecting himself and not answering questions. And I think it turned out to be rather uneventful.
Yeah, it seemed like about once every 2 minutes or so there was an "I don't remember" or "I don't recall," which is the old perjury dodge. It's really hard to get convicted of perjury for saying "I don't remember" as a way of avoiding speaking the truth.
Yeah, although like I said, a couple things.
Might just be he doesn't remember.
When he said that when the president cleared the room, it was just hitting Comey, and then the next day, when Comey expressed that he was concerned about that, and supposedly Sessions said that as well. But a couple of things he said kind of contradictory on his own testimony. But by and large, again, I think it was a non-eventful hearing. But again, I didn't expect someone who's as seasoned a politician and partisan of an ideologue to do much different than that. But I think that was part of the news of the week.
Yeah. Agreed. Bill, watching Free Speech TV in Linwood, Washington. Bill, you're on the air with Congressman Pocan.
Hi, Mr. Hartmann and Congressman Pocan. I'm sorry about the state of labor in your state. You're not my representative, obviously, but as a representative, Democrat, I would hope you would not allow this, the question, no answers to go on. It's all you're going to get, obviously, is I don't recall, and whatever privilege they're using to cover up the answers. Are you guys going to pursue this in some ways or any way?
Sure, Bill. Well, thanks for your question. And first of all, let me say, I also come from the labor family. I'm a painter, an allied trade IUPA team member for about 3 decades. And, Wisconsin's had it tough under Scott Walker. They went right to work. They destroyed collective bargaining for public employees. They're now going after prevailing wage for no reason other than, Scott Walker's trying to get national attention. And, it's sad because if you look at, the greatest times we had, I think, economically for the middle class and the least amount of income inequality was when we had unions the strongest. That movement makes sure that people have fair wages and the benefits that they need. And, it's really terrible to see it going counterproductively. I think specifically to your question, Bill, we're pushing things. I mean, what we want to do, and I think the bottom line is if we get an independent commission, a truly independent commission, we can get to the bottom of all of this. But, I think FBI Director Comey gave us a lot of interesting testimony talking about the president, lying. Now the president claims he's willing to go under oath and testify to Senate. We'll see if that happens. But the bottom line is it should be in everyone's best interest to have a truly independent commission. And if the president has nothing to hide, it's in his best interest to have that as well. And that's the direction that we are going to continue to pursue.
We just have 90 seconds or maybe 70 seconds to the break here. About a minute, a little over a minute, Congressman, a little too short a time to put somebody on with a question. But what is anything coming up in the House with regard to all this Trump stuff?
Well, the problem on the House is on the Intelligence Committee. It's been made the most partisan, right? The ranking member, Devin Nunes, has had to recuse himself after erratic action. And,
oh, that's right. After he went over to the White House and released information and
that he got the night before from the White House. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So he's made it, unfortunately, very, very partisan. So, we're continuing to pursue that. We had another vote trying to, or another issue we tried to raise yesterday about trying to get the taxes released. We're pushing it on the Emoluments clause. I mean, we're not giving up at any level. It's just a lot of these high-profile hearings right now have been in the Senate, and that's where a lot of the action's been the last couple of weeks on this.
Do I understand, as Democrats in the minority, you do not have the power of subpoena?
No, and a lot of the Senate, again, just because I think that their rules has had a chance to do things differently. They have confirmations that allow them to do things a little differently. We just don't quite have the same latitude they do in trying to expose some of this right now. But we've been pushing, matters on the floor, trying to get votes, and we're definitely not giving up on this.
Yeah. Are you, by the way, are you one of the ones who plays baseball on this team?
No, I think if you put me on the baseball team, you would ensure a loss. So
okay. Yeah, me too.
I don't do that to my colleagues.
Me too. Okay, Congressman Mark Pocan is with us. We'll be picking up the rest, more of your calls right after the break here. Stick around. It's coming up on about 18 minutes.